few years ago, I had an opportunity to work with a group of teachers who'd witnessed a truly heartbreaking event when an 8th grade student had come onto campus and tragically took their life in front of the entire school. For me, that was another wake-up call about the intense stress that teachers face on a daily basis. Teaching can be incredibly rewarding, but it can also be a profession that is incredibly stressful. Between 2020 and 2022, the Bureau of Labor Statistics reported that about 300,000 teachers left the profession, and it's expected that nearly half of new hires will leave within 3 to 5 years. In fact, it's estimated that 500,000 teachers will leave the profession in 2024. Sadly, despite these alarming numbers, a survey by the Ed Research Center in January found that mental health programs for teachers are severely lacking. Over half the respondents noted that the mental health and wellness of teachers in their schools had declined during the 2022-2023 school year. Although our resiliency training has primarily focused on healthcare and public service communities, it's clear that these techniques are just as relevant in the education world.
I'm Susie Alka. I'm an associate superintendent with Yuma School District 1 in Yuma, Arizona. Yuma is unique in that it is in the very southwestern corner of Arizona. So Mexico, California, and Arizona all come together in that corner. We have probably 85% of the migrant students in the state of Arizona are in Yuma, so that migrant population is really high. We have a high minority population, and we also have 2 military bases. We have a really big variety of people within our community.
How'd your school cope with the pandemic?
We really just had to jump in and do the best we could. We were really fortunate that we had already a one-to-one device environment for our students with iPads and with Chromebooks, and we also had digital technology, digital curriculum to a degree, so that was really helpful. We stayed open for those students that needed a safe place to come to school, so we had students at our campuses throughout COVID. It just was a smaller population. I think one of the things that we saw with COVID is that the teachers, many of them had primary trauma from that experience. But when the students came back, they also were experiencing secondary trauma through whatever the students were, had experienced while they were home. And, having that, 25 to 30 times over, is just really overwhelming. Once we came back, we noticed that the behaviors that the students were exhibiting, the trauma that the students had suffered through during COVID was really impacting their ability to learn and their ability to get along with one another and with adults in the classroom environment. So it was really a big challenge. With the 5 skills of resilience, one of the things that was really important to us as we went through the training and brought it back to our community was to start with our leadership, because they are the ones that have to take care of the teachers and the students overall. It's sort of like the airplane situation, right? When you have to put your oxygen mask on, make sure you put yours on first as an adult before you help someone else.
Do you have an example of that?
One of the things that we did, we first started talking about empathy as a bridge to trust, which is one of the skills. And I asked them about their reflections and if they had used empathy and when they have used empathy. And many of them were able to give me really amazing stories about their use of empathy, especially our assistant principals who deal with discipline issues with our students, and when they have to have those difficult conversations with parents, they were taking the time to talk with the parents and really try to understand the situation that they were in, where they brought, and be able to empathize with all of the factors that that family was dealing with in terms of, everything going on, not just this student behavior. And, those kinds of things are so important. It really impacts the type of decision that they make about what the consequence will be for the behavior.
To back up a little bit, you came to one of the first trainings. Can you tell me what that was like for you all?
It was amazing. Myself, our director for learning services, who oversees our instructional coaches, and 2 of our instructional coaches attended. We were really fortunate because we were able to travel here together. We had 3 days together. We were away from home. We had time to reflect on our learning every evening together, and we really formed an amazing bond with one another through that process.
Our trainings aren't just a one-time thing. We encourage everyone to take what they've learned and use it in their communities. Whether that community is a rural fire department, an emergency room, a metro sheriff's department, or a school system. Applying these skills will ultimately strengthen their social support system. And in the end, that's the best way to combat mental distress.